September 23, 2025. By noon, Zen Nucky Sylvester's name was everywhere. Facebook, GoFundMe, funeral home listings. And by evening, Toledo knew the truth. She was gone, 23 years old, mother of 3. One day before her brother's birthday, her final post, it wasn't angry. It wasn't desperate. It was calm, almost poetic. She mentioned pink and black, her colors. She mentioned being tired. She said, "If this touched Facebook, I'm gone." And she meant it. Now, here's what gets me. To everyone watching from the outside, Nucky had it together. Social media creator, loving mom, always showing up for her kids. But that's the thing about strength, right? Sometimes it's not a flex. Sometimes it's just survival mode. And when you're running on survival mode for too long, eventually, you run out. Her mother posted through tears. She wished to be buried in pink and black, and I'm going to make that happen. Tonight, we're telling Nucky's full story. Not just how she died, but how she lived, how she loved, and how the weight of doing everything alone became too much to carry. This is about a mother whose final words became a wake-up call for everyone still fighting in silence. If you're into true crime that digs deep, that respects the people behind the headlines, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. We drop new content every single day. Real stories, real people, real truth. Before the world knew her as Nucky, she was just Zen Miela Sylvester, a bright, spirited girl growing up in Toledo, Ohio. And listen, everyone who knew her back then will tell you she was unforgettable. The kind of person who could walk into a room and just change the whole vibe. Warm, inviting, magnetic, even. Her teachers at Boucher High used to say she had something special. That spark, you know? The kind that makes you think somebody's destined for greatness. Her friends called her Nucky, a nickname from childhood that just stuck. It was soft, playful, just like her personality. She had this smile that could flip anybody's bad mood around. A laugh that came from deep in her chest. The kind of energy that pulled people in. She was sweet, she was kind, and she made everyone around her feel seen. But even back then, life was already teaching her some hard lessons. Because when you grow up in a working-class neighborhood, you grow up fast. There's not a whole lot of room for dreaming when survival is the priority. But Nucky, she still had dreams. Dreams of stability, of building a family, of raising kids who wouldn't have to struggle the way she did. By the time she turned 16, those dreams collided with reality real quick. December 2018. Zen became a mother for the first time. Most girls her age were worried about prom dresses, senior pictures, late-night phone calls with their best friends. Zen was changing diapers, heating bottles at 3 a.m., learning how to soothe a crying newborn on 2 hours of sleep. It was supposed to be beautiful, right? Young love, a baby born into promise. But like so many teenage mothers learn, promises fall apart faster than anybody warns you about. The man she thought would build a future with her, he didn't stay. What was supposed to be a partnership became a solo mission. So at 16 years old, Zen stepped into adulthood, alone, no instruction manual, no safety net, just raw determination and motherly instinct. She didn't know how she was going to make it work, but she did. Every morning, she woke up for school, cradled her baby in one arm, carried her books in the other. There was no blueprint for this, just faith and grit. She worked whatever job she could find, borrowed rides from anyone willing, leaned on whoever offered help. There were days she went without so her child wouldn't have to. And through it all, she smiled. People mistook that smile for peace. Really, it was armor. As the years rolled on, that armor only got thicker. Fast forward to May 2024. Zen gave birth to her second child. Still young, still hopeful, still fighting. Then, just 1 year later, June 2025, she brought her third baby into the world. She was only 23, but she'd already weathered more storms than most people face in a lifetime. To the outside world, she made it look easy. posting cute pictures, funny clips, matching outfits, bright captions about the joys of motherhood. But behind those posts were nights where she cried quietly in the dark, rocking a baby back to sleep while another child called from the other room. Wow. People talk about strong women like it's some kind of compliment, right? But strength for Nucky wasn't a choice. It was the only option she had. She wrote on Facebook, "Before I got pregnant, I used to always wonder why families didn't work out after a baby. I've finally realized that a lot of men aren't able to understand how much a woman goes through mentally, physically, and emotionally. We face so many challenges within ourselves, yet we're still expected to be the same person during and after birth. It takes a lot of communication and reassurance for sure." Girl, read that again. She was laying it all out. 3 children, 2 jobs, 1 exhausted heart. The world expected her to juggle it all. Work, smile, nurture, forgive. But nobody stopped to ask what it was costing her on the inside. And somewhere between those sleepless nights and the constant weight of carrying everything alone, love stopped being her safe place. It became another battlefield. The man who should have been her partner, he was either gone or just not present. Betrayal had become a regular visitor in her life. The same person who was supposed to protect her had become the source of her deepest pain. She tried to make it work, tried to believe in forever, but forever started sounding like a lie. Still, she stayed. For the same reasons so many young mothers stay, because she thought it would be better for the kids. Because love, even when it hurts, still feels safer than being completely alone. She shared on Facebook, "I'm tired of acting like I'm okay when I'm not. I'm not okay at all. My heart is broken, and I'm mad because I don't do anything to hurt anybody. I give my last. I put everyone before myself. Yet I always end up with the short end of the stick. My love is pure, and if I say I love you, I mean it. It's nothing I won't do for you. I've been in this position too many times. This stuff bothering me. I'm lost, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I keep asking God, but I'm getting no answers. I'm so angry, man, and I can't even hide it anymore. I'm not the person I used to be. I just want the old me back, the happy me. You hear that? That's not just venting. That's somebody drowning. That's somebody screaming underwater, hoping anyone will notice the bubbles. Number escalation. But the weight just kept building. Every broken promise added another crack to that armor she'd been wearing. Then, in August 2025, her silence broke in a way that got everybody's attention. She went online and said what so many single mothers wish they could shout from the rooftops. She posted, "I'm not the baby mama. I'm the custodial parent. I am the primary parent. I'm the mother, the one who doesn't get to pick and choose when to show up. I'm the big dog, if you may, on any day." Now listen, that wasn't just a post. That was a declaration, a way of saying, I'm the one who's here every single day. I'm the one putting in the work. It was anger, exhaustion, and pride, all wrapped into one. She wasn't looking for sympathy. She was demanding respect. In another post, she wrote, "No woman just wakes up and decides to be distant, cold, guarded, or toxic. That attitude you see, that tone in her voice, that wall she built, it came from somewhere, from betrayal, from being lied to, disrespected, and let down too many times. Women are naturally loving and soft. But if you keep hurting someone who only wanted to love you, right? Don't be surprised when that love becomes protected. Period." She said what she said, but anybody reading between the lines could feel the exhaustion in her words. There's a kind of tired that sleep can't fix, and Nucky had been living with that kind of tired for years. After that post, Zen went quiet. No updates, no live videos, no new photos of the kids. To some people, it looked like she'd found peace, but to the ones who really knew her, silence was a warning sign. Because silence isn't always calm. Sometimes it's collapse. She'd been running on fumes for months. Her body was tired. Her heart was tired. Her spirit was tired. And in the quiet of those final days, nobody knew just how close she was to the edge. Number, the crime. Then came September 23rd, 2025. Her Facebook account flickered back to life with a simple post. No drama, no anger. Just words that seemed to come from somebody who'd made peace with a decision. The message mentioned pink and black, her favorite colors, and one small detail that, looking back, absolutely shattered everyone who read it: her wish to be buried wearing them. She wrote, "My favorite colors are pink and black. I want my sons in all pink. Real men wear pink, and they will be real men. I don't know where I am, but I know I was tired. I love everybody that loved me. I made it to 23 with 3 kids. If this touched Facebook, I'm gone." To her followers, it looked like just another status update, maybe a little cryptic, but nothing alarming. To her family, it would soon become her final message. When the news broke, it didn't come from police scanners or local headlines. It came from the voices that mattered most: her family. On Facebook, her mother's post cut straight through all the noise. "She wished to be buried in pink and black, and I'm going to make that happen." By the afternoon of September 23rd, what had started as confusion across Toledo became confirmation. Zen Nucky Sylvester had taken her own life. One day, before her brother's birthday, friends started tagging her name. Classmates changed their profile pictures. Condolence messages flooded timelines. Within hours, Dale Riggs Funeral Home listed her name: Zen Miela Sylvester, age 23, born April 24, 2002, gone too soon. The GoFundMe, launched by family friend Akeisha Jordan, appeared that same evening, calling for help to lay a young mother to rest and to care for the 3 children she left behind. Her age repeated across every line of coverage: 23, too young to be a headline, too young to have her name carved on a headstone. The obituary was heartbreakingly brief: a date of birth, a date of death, a promise that memorial details would be announced later. There was no mention of police investigations or coroner reports. There didn't need to be. The truth was already written in the grief of the people who loved her. Reporters didn't rush in with wild speculation. They followed the family's lead: gentle, respectful. QuietPeople.com confirmed her passing, citing the fundraiser and her mother's public statements. There were no crime scene photos, no sensational angles, just a story about a woman, her children, and the weight she carried until she couldn't anymore. Because for once, this wasn't about mystery. This was about heartbreak. Her mother's pain became the voice of this entire story. In a post she shared with family and friends, she poured out everything she was feeling. Raw, unfiltered, the kind of grief that doesn't have a handbook. She wrote, "Dear Zen, I am writing to express my heartfelt love and longing for you. Your absence has left an unfillable void in my life, and I am deeply saddened by the thought of what could have been. I wish I could have been there for you and done more to help you through the difficult times. The memories of our time together are forever etched in my heart and soul, and I am reminded of the moments we shared and often took for granted. I wish I could turn back the clock and have you back starting anew, with the hope that you would have felt comfortable sharing your true feelings with me. I am grateful for the 3 beautiful grandbabies you left behind, and I promise to care for them with unwavering devotion. I hope you are now at peace, free from pain and suffering. Please know that I never judged you and was always there to support you to the best of my abilities. Everyone has a breaking point, and I hope you are now resting easy. I look forward to the possibility of your presence and guidance from time to time. Your beautiful smile and presence will always be remembered, and I will continue to celebrate your beautiful soul and good heart. Mama loves you and will always be here for you. Girl, there is no manual for grieving your own child, but that day, she showed the world what that pain sounds like. Unfiltered, unprocessed, never-ending." Her father posted too. He said, "All my kids hate that. I'm always taking pictures of them, but not her. She always understood the assignment number, Hasto Forever 23. Wow, that hit different. Because it's the small things that break you when somebody's gone, right? The fact that she never complained about the photos, that she just got it, that she understood her father was trying to hold on to moments before they slipped away, and now all he has left are those pictures. The community didn't stay quiet either. By the next day, Toledo was painted in pink and black, balloons, vigils, handwritten notes floating toward the sky. You were loved. You mattered. Fly high, Nucky. At the vigil, friends showed up wearing pink hoodies and black ribbons. Mothers came holding their babies, wiping tears while soft gospel hymns filled the air. A few nurses and CNAs from nearby clinics came straight from their shifts in pink scrubs, standing side by side with high school classmates who still remembered Nucky as the girl with the big laugh and the warm energy. One friend wrote, "Seeing my sister like this, man, I'm not okay. This is not what I wanted. Please, man. I'm so hurt, man. For real. Like, why baby Nucky Sylvester?" You could feel the confusion in those words, the disbelief. Like, how do you process losing somebody who seemed so full of life? Her oldest child stood in her grandmother's arms during the vigil, too young to fully understand, too small to carry the weight that would one day be explained to him. And that right there, that's the part that haunts you. Because these babies are going to grow up asking questions, and the answers are going to hurt every single time. Online, the memorials multiplied fast. Posts tagged her name alongside photos of smiling children and quotes about motherhood. But mixed in with the tributes were some uncomfortable questions. How could this happen? Could anyone have stopped it? Should we have seen the signs? And then the reposts started. Screenshots of her last message, her smiling selfies, even clips from old Facebook Lives. Some people were trying to honor her memory. Others, they were just chasing engagement. Strangers who never knew Nucky, suddenly sharing her story for clicks and views. The internet, in its endless appetite, started consuming her grief. We've seen it before, right? The way tragedy gets turned into content. What starts as remembrance can easily slide into spectacle. A family's pain becomes a trending topic. A woman's final words become a viral quote with aesthetic fonts and sad music in the background. And that's why stories like Nucky's have to be told with care. Not curiosity, not exploitation, but care. Because behind every viral post was a real person. Behind every screenshot, a heartbeat. Behind every comment section, a family still trying to breathe through the pain. Now, there's no arrest in this story. No trial. No courtroom drama or detective work. This isn't that kind of case. But that doesn't mean there's no accountability to talk about. Because the conversation that followed Nucky's death became bigger than just one woman. It became a mirror for thousands of young mothers who saw themselves in her struggle, the invisible load they carry every single day. The sleepless nights, the rent that's always due, the relationships cracking under pressure, the weight of being the only one who shows up. It's a burden that doesn't make headlines until it's too late. And what we often call strength in women, sometimes that's just survival dressed up in a smile. There are quiet dangers in that kind of strength. Sleep deprivation that never gets addressed. Postpartum changes that nobody talks about. Financial stress that crushes you slowly. Isolation that creeps in when you're too busy to notice. Each one feels small on its own, but together, they form a storm that's impossible to weather alone. And when support isn't there, when therapy feels out of reach, when asking for help seems like a luxury you can't afford, many mothers do exactly what Nucky did. They keep going, and going, and going, until they can't anymore. If there's one message this story should carry, it's this. We have to start checking on the people who seem fine. The ones posting smiles while running on empty. The ones who never complain. The ones holding everything together with duct tape and prayer. Because sometimes the strongest people are the ones closest to breaking. As one advocate wrote after Nucky's death, "Don't just say she's strong. ask if she's okay. And if she says she's fine, ask again. Because sometimes that second question saves a life. The pink and black vigils weren't just about mourning Nucky. They became a rallying cry, a reminder that we have to do better, that we have to see the signs, that we have to create spaces where struggling mothers can say, "I'm not okay," without feeling like they're failing. Churches in Toledo started hosting support groups for young mothers. Community centers organized free counseling sessions. Local organizations began fundraising for childcare assistance and mental health resources. People weren't just posting, "Rest in peace," and moving on. They were asking, what can we do differently? How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? But here's the thing. Systems move slow. Change takes time. And while we're working on building better support networks, there are mothers out there right now who are one bad day away from where Nucky was. They're reading this story and seeing themselves. They're nodding along because they know that exhaustion. They've felt that loneliness. They've wondered if anyone would even notice if they stopped showing up. So if you're that person, listen to me real quick. You're not alone. And I know it feels like it sometimes. I know it feels like you're carrying the world on your shoulders while everybody else is just watching. But your life matters. Your story isn't finished. And there are people who want to help. You just gotta reach out. Now, the focus turns to the children. 3 young souls left in the care of grandparents and extended family. Growing up in a home that just lost its brightest light. Her oldest is 6 years old, already asking where mommy went, trying to make sense of why she's not coming back. Her 1-year-old still reaches for her voice when somebody says her name, looks around the room expecting to see her walk through the door, and her baby? Just 3 months old when Nucky passed. That child will only ever know their mother through photographs and stories, through the memories other people share, through the legacy she left behind. And that's why these fundraisers matter. They're not just about covering funeral costs or burial expenses. They're about continuity. They're about making sure these 3 babies have what they need. Counseling when the grief hits them in waves. Daycare so their grandmother can still work. Clothes, food, stability. A foundation that lets them grow up knowing how fiercely their mother loved them, even when she couldn't stay. Her mother, now guardian of 3, speaks often about keeping Nucky's spirit alive in those kids. She says, they'll know her voice. They'll know their mama was strong even when life wasn't fair. They'll know she fought for them every single day. And that's what it means to build a village after loss, right? It's neighbors offering rides to doctor's appointments, friends dropping off diapers and formula without being asked, community centers arranging grief groups for children who've lost a parent. It's ordinary people doing small, sacred things that slowly rebuild what was broken. The GoFundMe that was set up didn't just meet its goal, it exceeded it, because people understood that this wasn't charity, this was community. This was making sure that while Nucky couldn't be there physically, her children would never lack for love or support. If you're listening to this and wondering what you can do for families like Nucky's, it's honestly not complicated. Bring a meal. Offer to babysit for an hour so a tired parent can take a nap. Give somebody a ride. Listen without demanding all the details. Don't ask them to explain their pain. Just show up. Be consistent. Because love in practice isn't grand gestures. It's showing up on a Tuesday with groceries. It's texting to check in without expecting a response. It's being present even when it's uncomfortable. Toledo showed up for Nucky's family in ways that mattered. And months later, they're still showing up. Still checking in. Still making sure those 3 babies know they're loved. One woman at the vigil said it perfectly. We can't bring her back, but we can make sure her babies never feel alone. That's how we honor her. That's how we keep her memory alive. Period. In the end, Nucky's story circles back to what really matters. Not how she died, but how she lived. And listen, she lived loudly. She laughed hard. She fought for her children every single day. She poured everything she had into those babies. Her time, her energy, her hope, her last bit of strength. Even when she was breaking on the inside, She made sure they were whole on the outside. That's her legacy right there. Her mother still remembers those noon calls, the daily ritual that became their bond. She said, she called me every day at 12. Every day. Just to talk. Just to say hi. And now? Now her phone's too quiet. That silence, she says, is the hardest part. Because when you lose somebody like that, it's not just the big moments you miss. It's the routine, the everyday check-ins, the voice on the other end of the line that made you feel less alone. But even silence has an echo. And in that echo lives everything Nucky ever stood for. Love, perseverance, color, pink and black, softness and strength. A woman who gave everything she had and still somehow felt like it wasn't enough. Here's what we need to understand, though. Nucky's story isn't unique. It's just visible. There are thousands of young mothers out there right now living this exact reality, working multiple jobs, raising kids alone, smiling through the exhaustion, posting happy photos while crying in private, carrying weight that nobody sees until it crushes them. And we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing about it? Are we just scrolling past the signs? Are we assuming that because somebody looks strong, they don't need help? Are we waiting until it's too late to check in? Women who are in that dark place right now, the ones who feel like Nucky felt, please hear this. Your pain is real. Your exhaustion is valid. The weight you're carrying is too heavy for one person. And feeling like you can't go on doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And to everyone else watching this, if you know a young mother who's struggling, don't wait for her to ask for help. Most of the time, she won't. She's too proud, too tired, or too convinced that she should be able to handle it alone. So you have to reach out first. You have to be intentional. You have to show up even when it's inconvenient. Because we can't keep losing mothers like Nucky. We can't keep reading obituaries of 2 3-year-olds who had their whole lives ahead of them. We can't keep watching families shatter, and communities grieve, and children grow up without their mothers, when there are things we could have done differently. Nucky's death was a tragedy. But it doesn't have to be in vain. Her story can be the wake-up call that saves somebody else. Her pain can be the catalyst for change. Her memory can be the reason we start doing better by the women who are still here, still fighting, still barely holding on. The pink and black balloons that floated over Toledo that day weren't just a tribute. They were a promise. A promise that we would remember her, that we would honor her by protecting the mothers who are still with us, that we would build the kind of community where no woman has to carry the weight of the world alone. So let's make good on that promise. Let's check on our friends. Let's support the single mothers in our neighborhoods. Let's normalize asking for help and normalize offering it. Nucky Sylvester was a mother, a daughter, a friend, a fighter. She was 23 years old. She loved pink and black. She wanted her sons to know that real men wear pink. She called her mother every day at noon. She smiled even when her heart was breaking. She gave everything she had until there was nothing left to give. And her story matters, not because of how it ended, but because of what it can teach us about compassion, about community, about paying attention to the people who seem fine but aren't, about the cost of carrying everything alone. Her mother said it best, "Your beautiful smile and presence will always be remembered, and I will continue to celebrate your beautiful soul and good heart." That's how we keep her alive. Not just in memory, but in action. By being better to each other, by showing up, by making sure that the next young mother who's drowning doesn't slip under the surface before we notice. Rest in peace, Nucky. Your 3 babies are being loved. Your story is being told. And your legacy, pink and black, soft and strong, will live on in everyone who chooses to do better because they heard your name. Thanks for watching. I know this one hit different. It's heavy. It's real. And it's a reminder that the people we see online, the ones who seem to have it all together, they might be fighting battles we know nothing about. Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Have you ever checked on somebody who seemed fine and realized they weren't? Have you ever been that person who needed someone to ask twice? This is a conversation we need to keep having. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We upload new true crime content every single day. Real stories, real people, real impact. Cases you know and plenty you don't. And if this story touched you, share it. Not for the views, but because somewhere out there is a mother who needs to hear that she's not alone, that her struggle is seen, that her life matters. We're going to keep bringing you stories that deserve to be told with care, with respect, and with purpose. Stories that make us think, stories that make us feel, stories that remind us we're all connected. Until next time, check on your people, love on your mothers, and remember, strength shouldn't have to mean suffering in silence. See you in the next one.